Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Deji Badimasi. The World Health Organization has confirmed that a man who died in a suspected case of Ebola in Nigeria did not have the deadly virus. WHO spokesperson Gregory Hattel on Friday said, quote, "The dead person has tested negative for Ebola and so cannot be the source of an Ebola event," end of quote. At least 10 persons were quarantined in Calabar, Cross River State after the patient admitted at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital died of symptoms of the deadly disease. Hattel said a laboratory investigation showed the dead person did not have Ebola or Lassa fever. Now, officials of Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Health have addressed a press conference on the Ebola scare, saying laboratory tests have now confirmed without any shade of doubt that this is not an Ebola case. Linus Awute, the permanent secretary of the ministry, said there was no basis for rumors of yet another outbreak of the Ebola virus.
The young man was actually admitted with bleeding, diarrhea, vomiting, skin rashes, and mouth lesions. These are symptoms that are also very, very identical with that of Ebola, or similar. His temperature on admission was 37 degrees centigrade. And his vital signs were stable. The parents said the patient had never traveled outside Calabar, meaning that investigation was also carried out to know if he has a travel history, and it was confirmed that he had not. So on the basis of the signs and symptoms, the tentative diagnosis of viral hemorrhagic fever to rule out the case of Lassa fever was made immediately. Some of his family members, especially the brothers and sisters, had a history of chickenpox in the last week, prior to him falling ill. So these are the scientific approach that was adopted to ensure that we dive into the etiology of that ailment. The patient was treated, and then during the course of illness, he also received intravenous fluids. Sadly, at exactly 8:15, 7 hours post-admission, the patient passed on. The death created a lot of panic among the medical team that attended to him. 15 health workers and 8 patients who had direct or indirect contact with the disease were immediately quarantined. Immediately this happened, the blood samples that were collected even before death were now taken to our reference laboratory in Irua. So at Irua, the necessary tests were conducted. First of all, to find out if it has to do with the Lassa fever, to find out whether it has anything to do with Ebola. As we are speaking now, it is very, very clear that it has nothing to do with Lassa fever. It also has nothing to do with Ebola. But it is also good that we go further to also isolate the strains and also find out what is it, if it is not Lassa fever and it is not Ebola.
Now let's turn our attention to the teaching hospital at the center of the Ebola virus scare. Normal operations have resumed at the hospital, with medical workers attending to patients and going about their normal duties. But the accident and emergency ward still remain shut down and quarantined following the Ebola virus scare. The hospital authorities are still, of course, they are no doubt still exercising caution. The unidentified man had died on Wednesday at the teaching hospital after showing Ebola-like symptoms, according to officials of the hospital. Now, the management of UCTH actually said it had informed all relevant agencies about the development, including the National Center for Disease Control, Federal Ministry of Health, and the Cross River State government.
We quarantined At the moment, we have 15 people under quarantine, and they are being properly taken care of by UCTH management. Of course, we have reached out to the Center for Disease Control, who are already working with us, and we hope that both the Cross River State government and others will be available to support us. But so far, all that we need to do for them is being done. And like I said, we are taking all the precautions, not because we have Ebola. We don't have any Ebola case in UCTH. We are taking all of these steps to prevent any infectious disease being passed to anybody, should in case the result comes out to show that what we are dealing with is a contagious disease as suspected.
Now, the death toll of Nigerian pilgrims who died in last month's Hajj stampede at Mina in Saudi Arabia has continued to mount. In the latest figure released by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, 99 Nigerians have now been confirmed dead in the stampede. 214 pilgrims are still missing as investigation continues to ascertain their whereabouts. 769 pilgrims from across the world died and 1,000 others were injured in the September 24 stampede in one of the roads leading to Jamrat complex in Mina, Saudi Arabia. Saleh Okenwa, the commissioner in charge of Information Research and Library Service, NACON, confirmed the new casualty figures to journalists in Mecca. Nigerian lawmakers have called for an international investigation into the deaths. Now, the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, says it would meet to discuss some pressing states and national issues. A statement signed by the chairman of the forum, Abdulaziz Yari, said the meeting would hold on Tuesday next week. Yari, who is the governor of Zamfara State, said the forum would receive presentations from strategic ministries, departments and agencies on some of the issues. He also said some development partners would make presentations regarding proposed reforms and support to states at the meeting. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Federal Ministry of Health, the World Bank, Nigeria Communications Commission and the UK Department for International Development, DFID, will make presentations at the meeting. The statement advised secretaries to state governments to come with their governors to the meeting, described as very crucial. The Nigerian Senate appears to be living to its words that it would not be business as usual when it begins screening ministerial nominees next Tuesday. It has now made public the criteria for the screening. Now, one of the criteria given by the Senate is proof of asset declaration. Chairman, Senate Ad hoc Committee on Media and Publicity, Dino Melaye, told journalists that the upper chamber at its closed-door session agreed that each nominee must submit proof of their asset declaration, must have their nomination approved by 2 senators from their states, and must have a clean bill of health from its Public Petitions Committee, among other conditions. Malai further disclosed that the Senate considered a number of issues that had to do with the approach and the procedure for the screening of the ministerial nominees. Now, the Rivers State government has demanded the immediate prosecution of the former governor, Rotimi Amechi, for fraudulent transactions. The state government presented a white paper demanding the immediate trial of Amechi and all persons involved in what the government described as fraudulent transactions. Amechi's indictment follows the report of the 30-day sitting of the Justice George Omereje-led Rivers State Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which disclosed that the former Rivers State governor looted 53 billion naira from the state's reserve fund. Speaking to journalists on behalf of the state government, the Commissioner for Housing in Rivers State, Ima Oka, said the state's Attorney General has been mandated to start all legal processes against the former governor, Rotimi Amechi, of course, and a former military administrator of Rivers State, Brigadier General Anthony Ukbo, retired, as well as some other political office holders, to refund over 97 billion naira allegedly misappropriated in the sale of the state-valued assets. Amechi is one of the 21 persons nominated by President Buhari to make up his cabinet. Nigeria's Vice President Yomi Osinbajo on Friday departed Nigeria for an official 3-day trip to South Africa. While in South Africa, the Vice President is scheduled to take part in a number of events, including the commissioning of the consular building of the Nigeria High Commission in Pretoria and a courtesy call on his South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa. Oshibajo will also hold an interactive session with the Nigerian community at the High Commission in South Africa and also attend programs at the House of Revival Church in Brakwan. He is expected to return to Nigeria on Sunday, October the 11th. The National Assembly Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Ikeja has upheld the victory of the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The three-man tribunal rejected the petition challenging Gbajabiamila's victory, saying he validly won the March 28 election for Surulere Federal Constituency in Lagos State and thereby dismissed the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party's candidate Tony Ashikodi for failing to prove the allegations of electoral fraud. Now, it's not the case for Buruji Kashamu in Osun State, where the election petition tribunal there has actually, sitting in Isabo, Abeokuta, Osun State, has nullified his election. Of course, Senator Kashamu represents Ogun East Senatorial District. The tribunal chairman, Justice Ebiwo Itobi, said the election was marred with irregularities and non-compliance with the electoral law, thus the reason for its nullification. It, however, ordered rerun elections in 110 polling units. Kashamu's March 28 National Assembly elections victory was challenged by the All Progressives Congress candidate, Prince Dakpo Abiodun. We'll take a short break now, and News Now will be back shortly. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. Welcome back. Now, following the unstable power supply across the country, Nigeria's Vice President Yomi Osinbajo has said until there's stability in the power sector, electricity tariffs can remain at the levels they are currently. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, the Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari as a special guest of honor, said if Nigerians wanted to have a cost-effective tariff, the only way to achieve that is to service the core value chain. He said this was important as Nigerians cannot have a cost-effective tariff without paying for it. Royal Dutch Shell has asked ship owners exporting its Nigerian oil to sign a letter of comfort to guarantee it is not stolen. In July, the state-run Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation banned more than 100 tankers from Nigeria's waters, citing a directive from President Muhammadu Buhari, who wants to trace and recover what he calls mind-boggling sums stolen from the oil sector. Now, last month, the NNPC lifted the ban but asked ship owners to sign a letter of comfort to guarantee to indemnify it against any illicit use of their vessel. This led to some owners actually rejecting pending bookings. Oil traders say this showed that oil companies, trading houses and tanker owners were ensuring actions taken by Nigeria to prevent oil theft did not affect the market. Now, oil extended gains on Friday and was set for its biggest weekly rise in over 6 years after U.S. Federal Reserve minutes actually suggested it was in no hurry to raise interest rates. Brent crude, the global benchmark, was up 90 cents a barrel at $53.95 a barrel, while U.S. crude was up 1.35 cents at $50.78 a barrel, the highest level in more than 2 months. Brent reached a low of almost $42 a barrel in August, down from a high above 115 actually in June 2014. Now, Russia, one of the world's top 3 oil producers, has been unwilling to cut output to support prices, and last November declined to cooperate with the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries in order to defend its market share. But Moscow is now prepared to meet OPEC and non-OPEC oil producers to discuss oil markets. The 2015 Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the Indonesian National Dialogue Quartet. The group won the coveted prize for its role in helping the country's transition to democracy. Announcing the prize, the chairman of the Nobel Committee said the group had made decisive contribution to the building of pluralistic democracy after the 2011 revolution. They were among some 273 contenders for the prestigious prize. Now, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Pope Francis were among those tipped. Super Eagles coach Sambo has spoken about the reef that led to the retirement of veteran goalkeeper Vincent Enyama, admitting his surprise at the goalkeeper's accusation of abuse. Nigeria's most capped player Vincent Enyama on Thursday announced his retirement from the national team. Now, before his retirement, Enyama had posted a message on social media accusing Olise of insulting his mother and ordering security to throw him out. Olise, however, has rebuffed those claims, saying he did not insult the goalkeeper's parents and insists he has forgiven the 33-year-old. The pair had clashed earlier this week at the Eagles training camp in Belgium. This leaves a huge doubt over Olise's ability to manage the Eagles. Now, following Enyama's exit, the Super Eagles faced a 2-0 defeat at the hands of DR Congo. Enyama remains Nigeria's most capped player after amassing a total of 101 caps, with Mikel Obi 64, the highest in the current national team setup. He's appeared in 3 World Cups, 2002, 2010 and 2014, and was part of the victorious Nigerian team at the 2015 African Cup of Nations. FIFA President Sepp Blatter has appealed the 90-day ban given to him by the World Governing Body's Ethics Committee. The Swiss, along his UEFA counterpart Michel Platini and Secretary Jerome Valcke, were suspended for 90 days, while presidential candidate Chung Moon-jun received a 6-year ban from the Ethics Committee. Blatter's 90-day ban covers all football-related activities, as he is not allowed to represent FIFA in any capacity, act on the organization's behalf, or communicate to media or other stakeholders as FIFA representatives. However, Blatter, speaking through his advisor Klaus Stalker, has said he's not guilty and has launched an appeal to FIFA's appeal committee. Blatter, who was denied any wrongdoing, slammed his suspension, saying the committee suspended him because of a misunderstanding. Now, CAF President Issa Hayatou has since been appointed as the acting FIFA president due to the fact that he is the longest-serving vice president on FIFA's executive committee. 5-time European champions Liverpool have appointed former Borussia Dortmund coach Jurgen Klopp as the new manager of the team. The German, who has also been out of work since May, has agreed a 3-year deal worth £5 million a year, with an added bonus of £2 million if he wins a Premier League title or secures Champions League qualification. He replaces Northern Irishman Brendan Rodgers, who was sacked on Sunday after 3.5 years in charge. Speaking during his first press conference, the 48-year-old thanked the owners for the faith they have shown in him and also expressed excitement at his new adventure with the team. Klopp arrives at Liverpool with a track record of managerial success and a reputation as one of the most successful coaches in German football. Well, we can only wish him all the best of luck. That's it in News Now. For now, we thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.